Back to the mountains, where remarkable stories of survival are now being shared days after Helene wreaked havoc in North Carolina. But one Pageland man's efforts to help are now the source of controversy. He flew his own chopper on his own dime to help stranded victims. But that man says he abandoned his rescue missions after a fire official threatened to have him thrown in jail. Well, that man now wants answers and turned to Queen City News Chief Investigator Jody Barr to help figure out what went wrong here.
This is the original post that I was reading when I decided to go up and help. It's a long post, but she's saying that her kids and family and animals are trapped. No way out, no supplies, and the only way in or out is accessible by helicopter. Limited self-service and no water since Friday morning. I thought I have a helicopter and maybe I can help.
Jordan Sidham piled food and water into his helicopter Saturday and headed up toward Banner Elk, the only way through a mountain gap in Lake Lure.
This is the mountain valley that you would have to fly to get to Black Mountain, where we were escorting people out. This is a mountain range, and this is a mountain range. The only place to fly through with bad visibility, low cloud coverage, is Lake Lure.
The cries for help from people stranded without food, water, or electricity hit social media soon after the flooding last Friday.
So my parents are stuck there. Their address is Banner Elk. They are in the first condo. If you receive this, please give me a call back. Thank you.
Sidham's phone started lighting up on Saturday with people begging for help.
I mean, I could hear the desperation in her voice. This is multiple phone calls I've received like this, voicemails, text messages, and you could hear people desperate for help.
Sidham and his son rescued 4 people on Saturday and spent the night in a nearby pilot's lounge, then decided to fly again Sunday morning.
I spoke with my son, which is my co-pilot. I said, hey, do you want to go back out and try to help today? And his response was, there's so many messages, I don't think we can't not go help.
Sidham and his...
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm putting out tonight, it's sort of like an update, but also information that's been coming out since Hurricane Helene wind up hitting the mainland over a week ago. First, I want to apologize to everyone because I haven't done any content on this, and it's not that I didn't care. If anybody's watched my early content, I was covering as much as I could what was going on after the Lahaina fires, and it's my fault for not covering this. I just didn't know how bad this situation was getting and how so many crooked things are going on in the background. I got an email last night from one of my subscribers telling me to look into it because there is a lot of shady stuff going on. So I started looking into it last night, and at some point today when I got back home from work, and I'm noticing that there's a lot of reports coming out of people being stranded. The death toll is well over 215 at this point, maybe more by now, because they're still searching. Hundreds of people are still missing. Sorry about the puppy. Hush. Sorry about the puppy. And it just seems like there's more people that are stranded, like up in the mountains, like in Georgia, the Carolinas, different areas that got hit. And this devastation goes straight from Florida all the way up. Okay. One of the reports that I've been seeing is the lack of help from Harris and Biden. Okay, and which doesn't surprise me. And it's not like they're not helping, but the way they're helping is just not enough, number one, and it's reminiscent of how they treated the fires in Lahaina. Okay. And there's a couple of interesting things that I'm going to point out that I think that, you know what, it just shows more and more how the Biden regime, the Democrats in power, they don't care to help out Americans, even during a situation like this, just like with what happened in Lahaina, which doesn't surprise me, okay? Because anything that's coming out of Biden and Harris's mouth, okay, or from the White House at this point, I I take it with a grain of salt. Okay. But before I continue, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Also, again, I'll be leaving a link to Loza Alexander's Gifts and Go campaign. If there's any way you guys can help, please do. And if there's any way that you guys can find a reputable way in order to help the victims of this hurricane, please make sure you know where you're sending your money. If it's through family and friends, you know, make sure if there's a way you can send it to them through Cash App or whatever the case is, okay? And I say that because the way things are going on, so much money is collected during natural disasters, and a lot of that money gets lost. And I'm screw that. It doesn't get lost. It gets stolen. Okay? Hundreds of millions of dollars, sometimes billions of dollars gets collected, and all of a sudden half of that is just gone, and nobody knows because there's no paper trail. Okay? So I just want everybody, you know, if you're going to do something like that, make sure you know who you're sending the money to. If you're going to send it to an organization, I'll tell you right now, and I'm not trying to be a spokesperson or anything like that, but don't send it to FEMA. I don't even know if you can, but you're going to be you're going to be surprised on what I'm going to show you about what FEMA has to say. But besides all that, try to send it to somebody that you know. I mean, if it's a coworker that you know that has family, that something happened, and you trust them, if you want to give them the money, and then they could disperse it, and like I said, send it through Cash App or PayPal Pay or whatever it is, that they can send it right to someone's bank account, because it's all electronic. If they have at least a debit card on them or something, that they can, you know, wind up using it at hand, okay? So for sake of time, I'm going to try to keep this video as short as I can, but you guys know me. We're going to keep playing this. You need to listen to what this man has to say, okay? And like I said before, that people are telling me there's some shady stuff going on. You're going to be very interested when you hear this story, okay? Which blows my mind, because I, for one, have never heard of anything like this. But I'll let you guys listen to it first, and then I'll put my thoughts to it. Here we go.
Son, we're headed up to Black Mountain. Flight tracking shows no flight restrictions in place Saturday or Sunday morning when Sidham flew through the Lake Lure Gap. But that was all about to change. The Sidham spotted an older couple waving for help, then landed in what's left of their driveway.
Hey, I want you to let me get in. You step out and go out, help her in, put her bag in the back, get her strapped in. I'm going to take her down, come back. I'll take him, I'll come back, and then I'll get you, okay?
I originally left my son, co-pilot, on the side of the mountain. It was kind of unstable, so I didn't want to put more weight in the helicopter to lift back off. So I left my son with the other victim, and I was just going to take one person down at the time. And you could hear me in the video talking through with the victims and with my son what we were going to do.
3 minutes away, Sidham spotted a group of rescuers just down the river. He landed and found someone in charge.
Told him my background experience, law enforcement, firefighting, pilot. He immediately started helping with coordination. He gave me radio frequencies to coordinate with them on, set up a landing area for me to come back with the other victim. And in the middle of the whole conversation and them blocking the road off, I was greeted by the, at that time I didn't know, but Lake Lure fire chief or assistant chief maybe, and he shut down the whole operation. So at that point, I felt like the conversation wasn't going any further.
Did you guys hear that? The guy goes out to try with his son to go and rescue people, and for some odd reason, after rescuing and dropping off someone, someone approached him and basically shut him down. Now, I don't know about you, but I know for a fact that whenever there's a heavy hurricane in Florida, one of the first organizations that goes out to help is what I believe they call the Cajun Navy. Okay, coming out of Louisiana. And these are all people that are volunteers that go with boats and trucks and stuff like that, and they go to help with rescue and recovery and cleanup, and nobody ever stands in their way. Okay? In fact, in a situation like this, you would want more people with experience like this man, especially if he owns his own damn helicopter. Okay? So maybe I'm reading into this just a little too much, but can somebody please explain to me, and I'm being serious, in the comments, why anybody would tell this man who just finished rescuing somebody, dropping them off, was given basically like a rundown from certain people to say, okay, this is what we're dealing with, here are some coordinates, here are some radio frequencies, and then someone else come up and say, you know what, no, you can't. But it gets better. Check this out.
And again, he asked me to leave, and I said, hey, I have no problem getting out of your area. If that's what you want us to do, we'll leave, no issue. At that point, I asked him, you know, what was the reason I had to leave them there, and he said, again, you're interfering with my operation. I just need you to get out of the area. I said, sir, I don't know where you were trained at, but I know how my training is, and I'm not going to leave personnel behind. I'm going back to get my co-pilot. He said, if you turn around and go back up the mountain, you're going to be arrested.
Look at that. So you heard in the beginning of the video, the co-pilot is his son. Okay, a young kid. Okay, the father trained him well to be his co-pilot. He just told that man, whoever that person is, that's fine, you want me to leave, but I need to go back and get my co-pilot. That is somebody that I have stranded. Leave no man behind, man or woman behind. He then tells him that if he does, he's going to get arrested. So not only did he tell him, you're not allowed to go help anybody, he's basically telling him, okay, now you have to abandon your son. I don't know why in the world someone would come at him like that. Maybe it's pride. Maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe he was told to not be so extensive in saving people. But this right here, to me, raises many red flags. Okay? Because I've never heard of anybody being told that they are not allowed to go help and rescue somebody with experience. If it's just somebody that just showed up in a truck, maybe you can say, you know what, there's nothing you can do, that the roads are closed, you can't go up these roads. I get that. People show up in a boat and the place is flooded with water. You see that all the time, people showing up in their boats. But if somebody shows up in a helicopter after rescuing somebody and drops them off and says, here are my credentials, here are my retirement credentials, I retired from this, and this, and you're going to come out and tell them, no, you're not allowed to go rescue anybody, and two, if you go back to get one of your own that you left behind, you're going to get arrested? I don't know, people, but let's continue.
I said, well, sir, I'm going back to get my co-pilot. I don't know what to tell you. And he said, I'm letting you know. And at that point, he waved for 2 law enforcement officers to come over and told me that again, if I go back up the mountain, I would be arrested.
He flew the 3-minute trip back, picked up his son, and left the woman's husband behind.
I'm sure he was flooded with emotions and trying to rescue other people, and I just felt that it was best at the time to leave. So I did follow his instructions, and I had a conversation with the female victim before I left, apologizing and explaining. She was standing there. She heard the whole conversation, and they were both very, very surprised, very upset. The husband, as I was leaving off of the side of the mountain, at that point, separated from his wife. He was upset.
You know, I mean, just me thinking about that, just me thinking about it pisses me off and upsets me. To think that someone came and helped and rescued my wife and said, you know what, I can only take one person at a time. Not only did they do that, they wind up trusting me with their child, their co-pilot. Okay? He goes off to drop my wife off, comes back and says, I was just told this, and this. I am so sorry, but I can only pick up my son and leave. You're on your own. How would that make anybody feel? It's like, okay, so now I gotta stay here, separated from my wife. I don't know where she's at now, even though he says he dropped her off. It's like like, first of all, I'd like to know who this person was that did this, number one. Number two, for the two police officers, whoever it was that came over and doubled down on it, when has anybody ever heard during a something like this, hurricane, fire, whatever the case is, that even law enforcement is telling you, if you go back to help anybody because you're stepping on our toes, you're gonna get arrested. This is insane. But let's continue.
I can only imagine.
Sidham and his nearly 1,400 flight hours turned his chopper around and headed back to South Carolina, passing people waving for help along the way.
As I was actually leaving to go back to get my son, the original chief or captain that I spoke to, his crew and himself, they came back over and said, hey man, we can't tell you to go get the victim. We can't even ask you to go get the victim, but we can tell you if you come back with the victim, we'll have you a designated landing spot, and we'll make sure they don't come over here.
So there was no flight restriction when you went in?
No flight restriction when I went in. It went in place 20 or 30 minutes after the confrontation with Mr.
You feel like that was coincidental, or do you think that was because of what happened?
I don't think it can be coincidental when there has not been one in place the day before doing rescue operations, the night of, the morning of, that took place after our altercation.
Exactly.
I think there would have never been a TFR put in place had we not had that conversation.
And you know what? I'm believing that it's not coincidental. I am believing that, you know what? This will be another Hurricane Katrina where so many people were abandoned, okay? And more people lost their lives because they were abandoned. What makes this, I'm not going to say it makes it worse. What makes it a little more like different, I want to say, is that what happened with Katrina, okay, that was pretty much on flat land. Where a lot of these, in this hurricane, a lot of it is up in the mountains, okay, which I still find suspect for so much water, okay, to be trapped in the mountains and not be flowing down. But I mean, I'm not, I'm no sort of scientist or anything like that. But you would think, like I said, if you have people that know these areas, especially if they have the means, like a helicopter, to go and fly over, it would make it easier and be more helpful, okay, for whoever's in charge of search and rescue, that they would say, okay, you know what? It's all hands on deck. We need as many people as we can, as many experienced pilots as we can, because roads are washed away. We can't get there. We can't get to the spots that we want to with vehicles. Okay? I'm not understanding this, and to tell you the truth, people, I truly think that this is the beginning of a lot of shady stuff that's going to be happening, in all honesty. But let's continue.
If I had to do it over again, I would have stopped and I would have rescued as many people until they decided they were going to arrest me.
Well, for now, we've chosen not to name that Lake Lure fire official because communications in and out of that town are still difficult. We want to include his side in this story, and if and when he responds to our messages, we will include that. The good news is I saw a video of a Coast Guard helicopter landing in Lake Lure this morning, so hopefully some of those mountain rescues are underway today. From Pageland, Joe.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. Well, another thing that I find very strange, but not surprising. Okay, where is the National Guard? Where's the military to help out? You would think that there would be, just going en masse to do this. Once again, just like what happened in Lahaina, you don't really see a very heavy National Guard and military presence. What happened in Lahaina, when they showed up, it was for a cleanup. If anybody remembers that. Okay, so where are they now? Where is Biden and Harris, okay, releasing these troops to go out there and start helping out? I mean, this is not something that happened in one state. This is multiple states, okay? Hundreds of people are known to have died in this. Hundreds are still missing, okay? And it's like, where's the response? Where is the massive coordinated response? it's reminiscent of Lahaina. It's reminiscent of Katrina. Okay? Like, nobody wants to do anything. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But what makes matters worse, okay, is something that Kamala Harris had to say. I'm going to show that, and then we're going to get into a couple of other things. But here we go. Okay, now this video clip was put out by Right-Winged Angel on Instagram. Okay, listen to what Harris has to say, and I want to bring something up about this. Check this out.
The federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met. And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met.
$750, folks. The same thing that they did in Lahaina, in Hawaii, giving $700 to people that need it after a catastrophe that basically took everything that they had. That's how they're going to start. Okay. Meanwhile, if you guys can read the post, it says billions for Ukraine, millions for illegals, but now it's billions for illegals. Only $750 for the victims over here that are dealing, okay, with this tragedy. It's like, where do the Democrats think that people are going to look at this and be okay with it? Okay? You spend billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, okay, in Ukraine, hundreds of billions of dollars nationwide for illegal immigrants. You don't have the National Guard out there. You don't have the Army out there. Not saying that Harris and Biden put something out for that guy in the helicopter not to go help, but where is all the help at? And on top of that, you're only going to give these people $750 to do what? To go where? Where are they going to shop? It's not like they can take it and go to Walmart if everything's been washed away. Some whole towns have been decimated. Gone. Completely gone. Okay? What are they supposed to do with $750? There's no internet service. There's barely any phone service. I mean, it's not like they can go online and order something. What are they supposed to do at that? I just think that this is in poor taste, in my opinion. In very, very poor taste. Okay? There should be thousands of people out there. And I understand that there's a lot of places that are flooded. I get it. You can't just have people going there because it's flooded. But those skies, okay, should be flooded with helicopter after helicopter. I mean, rescue. I mean, the National Guard, whatever you got, the Coast Guard, National Guard, whatever you got, there should be thousands of military troops out there trying to help out. And you don't see it. You just don't see it. What really bothered me about this, number one, was because what they did in Hawaii, the same thing, okay, was this article that I came about, okay, because I had to look it up again, and it says in Ukraine, U.S. tax dollars are funding more than just military aid, okay. It says now this is an old article, but just so people could be reminded of how Biden and Harris have been running the country and wasteful money, taxpayer money, and not spending it on the Americans, but spending it on foreign wars and spending it on illegals. Check this out. As the war in Ukraine grinds, and I don't mean to cut it off again, but I did a video about this months ago, last year, okay? And once again, we have Americans that need help, but that's not good enough because Biden is saying that he wants to pass another package and give Zelensky billions of dollars more before his term is up. Okay, so keep that in mind. But It says, as the war in Ukraine grinds toward a third year, America has provided more than $70 billion in aid, with billions going not just toward the military, but also to help farmers, subsidize small businesses, and pay the country's first responders. So you're going to send them billions that is going to help out not only the military, but basically help out their citizens, okay? Farmers, subsidize the small businesses, which I did a video on that, okay? And pay extra to the first responders. And it's like you could have kept all that money, kept it in the coffers, on top of the hundreds of billions of dollars that have been wasted and spent on illegals, and maybe, okay, maybe, just maybe, we won't get a response like this. Check this out.
Homeland Security Secretary says FEMA can meet immediate needs, but does not have enough funding to make it through hurricane season.
Something we continue to follow here on 10 Tampa Bay. There's a bipartisan group of senators from affected states who wrote the leadership this week saying it's clear Congress must act, saying it may even require lawmakers to come back in October ahead of the election. Here's what Alejandro Mayorkas said about the funding less than 24 hours ago.
We are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have. We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds, FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
If FEMA disaster relief funding does run out, FEMA will prioritize only life-saving and life-sustaining activities. Current recovery efforts will go uninterrupted. However, new obligations not necessary for life-saving will be paused.
You believe that? So now Mayorkas is saying that FEMA doesn't have the funding, okay? In other words, they got enough to give $750 around, but they don't have the big bulk of funding. Why not? Why not? It was the same thing in Lahaina. So the Biden regime allocates billions upon billions of dollars to put into packages to send to Ukraine, to put to the side to help out blue cities and states, to help out the illegals, okay? To give money, taxpayer money, to all these NGOs that have been abusing the money and doing just nefarious shit behind closed doors, okay? And you mean to tell me that once again, Americans have to wait? Once again, you're saying that FEMA doesn't have the money to get through the hurricane season? Where are we going, people? Where are we going with this administration, okay, and the goons that they have in charge? Where are hundreds of billions of dollars of taxpayer money going? They're going to wars overseas, to help our small businesses and farmers overseas during their wartime. It's going to NGOs that are helping illegal immigrants come into the country and then abusing them on top of that. It's going to illegal immigrants that are being catered to hand and foot when it comes to food stamps and cash assistance and housing and welfare, you name it, vehicles, all that. Okay? And first responders in Ukraine to help out their people. But now FEMA's going to come out and pull that card again? We don't have it? You see, all that could have been avoided had Biden not stuck his nose, okay, in Ukraine, and had they not left the borders wide open. Okay? Imagine the hundreds of billions of dollars that this country could have held on to and done so much better for the people. But once again, when you got the lefties voting for each other and eating up people's heads to keep voting them in, this is what we get. I wonder, okay, and not trying to sound petty, but I wonder if anybody that thinks that Biden and Harris of the new great hope for this country, I wonder if they care enough about the people that are suffering throughout this and not think about if they're helping out Democrats or Republicans. Because these are victims. Okay? And the Democrats, as usual, like I always say, everything they touch turns to shit, have made it so there's not enough money, knowing that we're in the middle of hurricane season. And in fact, if anybody's been watching the weather, there are a couple more hurricanes brewing. Okay? That they're saying that if it goes straight, it might go right over Texas and Pensacola, Florida. If it turns right, it's going to go right back over all these places that were hit. And then what? It's insane, people, what's going on. But I got some more stuff to show you. Let's continue.
Wide-reaching. While much of the attention is on the areas in the mountains, some in places like York County say they're facing challenges too. Tonight, the owner of a popular restaurant there is speaking out and asking where's the money after learning the county has not been declared eligible for FEMA assistance. WCNC Charlotte's Jane Monreal is here. And Jane, you spoke to him. What did he say?
Well, Colin, the owner says when they were hit by those power outages, they had to close for several days. They lost food and therefore sales and loss of income. And as many small business owners know, if he knows that there is a financial assistance out there, but he found out it is a process.
Dave Laddish, owner of Sharon Grill, says they got power back last night.
Been doing burgers in the parking lot, no showers. Other people have it bad, so I'm not trying to complain too much. But we do need to have it declared as a disaster area.
Laddish says his insurance for loss of business income has a 72-hour deductible, which he met, but
I had a mortgage payment, due today, and losing all those sales makes it difficult.
Laddish went to the disaster relief website and saw that York County wasn't listed.
Spoke with Congressman Norman's office, and they directed me to contact York County Emergency Manager, and they contacted them as well. That office told me that in order for it to be declared as a FEMA disaster area, there was a $1.3 million threshold on uninsured property or uninsured damages.
And in fact, a York County spokesperson confirming with WCNC Tuesday afternoon that, quote, as of this time, York County does not have enough destroyed or severely damaged homes to qualify for federal assistance through FEMA.
Okay, now I'm going to stop it right there real quick. I'm going to keep playing it. So I just showed you the article. We're going to go back to that in a second. The money that was given to Ukraine, okay, to help their small businesses. The video that I put out, there was a news reporter going into the businesses. As a matter of fact, the town that they were in, there was no war at all. Okay? Excuse me. People were walking up and down the street as it was just like, a cozy, busy Saturday. Everybody just going window shopping. It was fine. But the Biden administration found it, okay, deemed it that we got to send money to Ukraine to help keep those businesses going. Meanwhile, businesses here that have been affected, you see the devastation, FEMA says they don't qualify. How's that possible? I'm asking serious questions here. How is this even possible? That this is the way FEMA, which in my opinion, I think it needs to be shut down, but that's just my opinion. But how is it possible that the Biden administration cannot move the hand of FEMA and say, you know what? Give these people what they need. We got to speed it up. It's funny how they could speed up the process to have illegals to be American and speed up the process to just go and give out hundreds of billions of dollars to illegals without knowing anything about them. Okay? Set up shop for them in every blue city and state in the country. They do it overnight. Okay? You know that this disaster's coming. You mean to tell me that FEMA wasn't getting ready for this to say, you know what? We need to get ready because there's going to be a lot of people applying for assistance because they're going to need it. Businesses, homes, all kinds of stuff. Nope. Definitely not. It's like, nope. We'll just wait till after it's over and whoever comes to apply, we'll just tell them you don't qualify. Where was that heard of before? I'll tell you. Katrina, the same thing. Meanwhile, thousands of people were left homeless, okay? And news footage came out of if anybody remembers, all the FEMA trailers that were just lined up in open fields. Meanwhile, there was homeless people. They did nothing with it. Then they came up with excuses that, that there was something wrong with the trailers or whatever the case is. I mean, it was just like, who is running this organization, okay, that will make people go through so much paperwork, especially in rural areas where you can see the devastation? And then they're showing proof, okay, of what is going on, and they're being told, you don't qualify. It's insane. Let's continue.
However, the York County Office of Emergency Management is still collecting reports from the public. Frank Matranga from FEMA telling me by phone we may see those initial county lists have counties added over the coming days and weeks.
And we'll be working with state officials to collect that information and obviously for state officials to be able to do that, hearing directly from survivors in their counties helps them tell us and helps us work together to understand where the needs are and make sure that where there's needs and federal assistance is available, we're providing that support.
South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster in Monday's update saying it starts with those individual reports too.
Although we got the declaration to provide funds for disaster relief, the counties themselves must send in the information here for us to transmit it to FEMA.
Laddish says since they have power now, they're getting ready to open tomorrow by lunchtime, hopefully earlier. But in today's briefing, South Carolina Governor McMaster said they anticipate receiving information from more counties so that FEMA will be able to include them, including Union County. York County, in the meantime, is encouraging people to fill out the damage reporting survey. We're going to put a link on our website, WCNC.com. Colin?
I just think, like I said, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. I just think that I think it's appalling, okay? That Americans that are here that are suffering, once again, have to show receipts, have to show checks and balances. Meanwhile, billions of dollars are being sent overseas. Nobody wants receipts. Nobody wants checks and balances. Millions of illegals have come into the country. Hundreds of billions of dollars are being spent on them. It's being given to private organizations. No checks and balances, no receipts. It's just given. It's just given. They give vouchers for illegals to go to car lots and get brand new freaking vehicles. Okay? No paperwork, no nothing. You're an illegal? Here you go. Go get yourself a brand new truck. You're in Ukraine and you own some sort of little business? Here you go. Don't worry about it. We're going to send it to your people. They'll do what they want and they give it to them. When it comes to Americans, you see the devastation. It's like, well, you're going to have to wait because even though there's no power, the place is flooded. You got to try to find the paperwork, you got to send it in, and then the county has to do their paperwork, and then they got to send it in, and then we got to see how much is in the budget. And right now, as it stands, we really don't have much, and we don't know how far we're going to go, and we don't know if we're going to be able to cover the whole hurricane season in the United States because a government entity that is given hundreds of billions of freaking dollars every year somehow doesn't have enough money. You can't make this shit up, people. You just can't make it up. And another thing that really kills me, when the two hurricanes hit Puerto Rico years ago, that Donald Trump went out there, he made it there, okay? When they showed the video of him throwing paper towels to the crowd, it wasn't that he was being mean to them or cruel, because obviously they didn't show you the whole videotape. It was just that there were so many people, and there was people in the back of the crowd cheering and, raising their hands, and he was like, okay, and just started tossing it to them. It was nothing nefarious, but they went and turned it around to make it seem as if he didn't care. But why is it that when Biden's in charge, Hawaii was left on its own, FEMA barely did anything, okay, gave people the runaround? This disaster's here. Again, Biden's in control. The same thing is going on with FEMA. People are suffering. And you don't hear anything from the mainstream media. No criticism whatsoever against Biden and his regime or FEMA. No criticism. And if there is, it's very light. Okay? But that's exactly how they want people to look at everything. Like, we got this under control, everything is fine. And it's not. It's not. You don't have enough people on the ground to find out. Well, I shouldn't say the ground. I'm not trying to be, trying to make it a joke. But you don't have enough boots out there to find out in what rural areas are people missing. There's nobody out there. Like I said, if there was a massive coordinated effort out there, no matter what news or video you see, whoever puts it out, they will be showing the skies full with just choppers coming in left and right, whatever the case is. Where's the military? Where's the National Guard? I mean, I thought that the National Guard was for reasons like this. Like I said, if I'm wrong, somebody point me to it. But I haven't seen anything. Okay? Now, I was going to show what I said about the Ukraine video with the, well, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can find it, and I'll show it to you guys right away. Here we go. Okay, this was from that article, okay, that I was showing you guys before. Now, I couldn't find the video, but I'm going to show you parts of this article, the pictures they took. This is one of the stores, and I remember this, as a matter of fact, the video that I did was on this. It was a woman that owns a scarf shop, okay? She was one of the women to get money, one of the business owners in Ukraine, to keep business going, okay? Now, as you read further down, this is the whole article. Down here is Lindsey Graham, Senator Warren, and Blumenthal with this reporter. They're in, right, this is Ukraine. Okay, it even says it in the picture right here. Harley Williams in Ukraine alongside with Lindsey Graham, Elizabeth Warren, and Richard Blumenthal. Does this look devastated? Does this picture of her business look devastated? No. But they'll go and give all this money to a place that, if you, like I said, if you look at it, there's people walking up and down the streets. Everything is fine. Okay? Now, coming from these two, hey, that's okay. From him, I can care less, to tell you the truth. Okay? I really can. And this is put up by CBS, and it's like, how do you vote? Okay? How do you keep these people in that are more interested in helping people overseas? Now, I have brought this up to someone, and they said, well, just because there's a war in Ukraine, it's in a certain part, it's not in all of Ukraine. I get that. I know it. Obviously, the picture shows. But if everything is fine here in these pictures, if this woman's business is fine, why are the American taxpayers sending money to keep their businesses going? Okay? While business owners in America go through catastrophes like major fires in Hawaii, like hurricanes over here in the mainland, and everything is a slow process, and people have to jump through hoops, and everybody gets $750, and that's it. And they have to show proof. If they own a business, they have to jump through hoops. But I wonder if anybody asked this woman to show proof that she needed the money. No, of course not. Because the money was just sent to them, okay, as a subsidy in case they lost business because of the war. So in other words, instead of her selling 10 scarves one day, if she's only sold 9, they gave her money for that 10th scarf. Okay? And I'm sorry. I really am. And I'm not even, I don't care if I sound petty at this point. But sending somebody money to run a damn scarf shop on the other side of the planet, who gives a shit? Okay? In all honesty. Like, it's a scarf. If you think that business is so damn important, okay, that you need money to keep a scarf shop going, maybe you just have the wrong business, because how does a scarf shop help out the community? Obviously, I don't think it does, because if you look at the streets, You see anybody with a scarf? You see anybody here with a scarf? I don't. But that was important. Okay? The businesses and the homes that need to be repaired in Lahaina, that's a slow process. Making everybody jump through hoops. Okay? A year and a half later. This just happened, and I understand that it's going to be a slow-moving process, but if they're showing you proof for FEMA to come out and say that, oh, you know what, your county doesn't qualify. Why not? Half the street's missing. How does it not qualify? There's no power. Well, at the time, now there's power. But it's like, you would think that they will go to the first places that will help people. Restaurants, supermarkets, well, I should say hospitals, clinics, restaurants, supermarkets, daycares, veterinary clinics, anywhere where you need power and they need money to keep life going and to help the rest of the community in case they got to bring in supplies. Nope, not doing it. Just like Katrina, just like in Lahaina. And now once again, amongst all these states. Incredible, people. Totally, totally incredible. And I tell you what, we all need to pray to God that these hurricanes that are coming, that they would just dissipate. Okay? Because the devastation is only a week old. And they're still finding bodies. And even if it doesn't hit them, if it comes to another part of Florida, whatever the case is, that is way too much destruction. Okay? For anybody to feel that, you know what, the government we have in place now is going to help. They cannot help out one side of the country on the east side, okay? Never mind them trying to come, since they're claiming that FEMA doesn't have enough to get through the hurricane season. So we all need to pray to the Lord Jesus in heaven to please stop these hurricanes from coming and help these people that have been devastated to heal, that things will get, that things will get better and get rebuilt, and to keep moving forward, because and speedily, okay? Because I mean, Biden and Harris, in my opinion, they don't know what the hell they're doing, and in all honesty, I don't think they really want to do anything. In all honesty, we already know that FEMA can't handle it. Okay, they just can't, because how do you keep giving an organization year after year, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, hundreds of billions of dollars, okay, and you're saying that you don't have enough? Maybe if I don't know, maybe if the Democrats stop wasting money on the ones that don't deserve it, okay, maybe we'd have more taxpayer money in the coffers to help out Americans first. Not trying to be mean and saying that people around the world don't deserve help. I'm not saying that. But I do stand on this fact. If you can't help out the people in your house, you have no business helping out your neighbor. Plain and simple. That's just the way I see it. How do you help out your neighbor if you can't help out your family first? I don't understand. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. And I'll be leaving a link in the description to Loza Alexander's Gifts and Go campaign if you guys can help him. Even if you leave him words of encouragement and prayer, it's all greatly appreciated. So remember, people, stay vigilant, keep praying for each other, keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for this country, your enemies. Pray for Donald Trump. Pray for everyone that's been devastated, that has lost so much with these storms. Pray that the storms that are coming, like I said, that God would dissipate them. And don't forget to get out there and vote. Peace.